What is up, bros? Josh here, and today's video is all about the currently work in progress Tier 10 Pan-European destroyer, the Holland, and this is the Tier 10 of the tech tree, the upcoming tech tree line. Now this ship brings, and this line in general, brings some very unique playstyle, but the Tier 10 and the higher tiers of this line bring some nasty tools that we really haven't seen in destroyers in a very, very long time, and we'll get to that later in the video. First of all, let's dive over the stats of this ship as well as some gameplay, and I'll give you my thoughts on what I think about this ship in general. So first, let's dive into the stats of this ship, but let's check out the captain build because it will affect some of the values. Now, this is the build I did run in this game, so these are the things I kind of want to point out. However, though my build isn't finalized, this ship kind of plays a couple different play styles, and it might be kind of up to your play style. That's what I really like about things like these types of ships, that it all depends on what you like to do. There's some gunboat setups I might try out, and there's some torp setups I might try out, but this is the build I did run in this video. There's a couple things I want to point out before we dive into the gameplay, because we'll see some pretty exciting stuff in the gameplay as well. But I ran priority target, last stand, survivability expert, and concealment expert. Very, very basic 10-point captain. And then I went with radiolocation. Now the reason I did that is because, again, as you saw in my earlier video of the tier 6, these ships don't have smoke, so it's not so much about an offensive radiolocation, it's a more of a defensive radiolocation. So I really like this captain skill on these ships because they don't have that safety net of the smoke. Now, I did in this build go with a bit more of a torp focus build, and that is the torp armament expertise. So the torps are launching out pretty quick. Again, the whole pan-European, and you'll hear me probably say this a bunch in the video, it's quantity over quality. Lots of torpedoes, very fast reload, but the damage is not very good. And then I went with Adrenaline Rush. Now, there is some BFTs I could go with, and BFT is more going to be focused on the guns of this ship, as I would take BFT, obviously, on the Friesland. But this is something I want to point out, though. I'm not taking BFT, I'm not taking AFT, and I'm not taking anything really focused around AA for the captain builds. And these are the captains, so obviously it's going to change some of these values. Also, it can bring defensive AA as well as a heal, obviously, because it's the Pan-European line. No smoke, engine boost, and then the repair. For the upgrades, these are the only things I'm taking for AA. You can see there, but I am taking torpedo. Now, you could take guns or the AA mod if you want. I really don't think you need it, or some range if you want. I took torpedoes, again, focusing purely on torpedoes. Stealth, the steering gears. Now, I did take the extra flak AA guns, so 2 more explosive salvos. Very nice on this ship. And then I took defensive AA mod 1 just for a little bit. Isn't really needed. And then main armament. So this you could easily change up to whatever propulsion or something like that. Now for the stats themselves, this is with survivability expert, but 22,700. That's pretty good for tier 10. Now the downside is this is a very large ship, so it takes a lot of damage. So kind of have to be a little bit careful there, but you're going to have to approach fights pretty cautiously unless you're going to go like a full gunboat setup, which I haven't tested out yet, but I don't think I really will. I like the playstyle I'm playing it right now. The guns are kind of just like the Friesland in a way, 2x2 120s, 2-second reload, and a 10.4 kilometer range. Not too bad. Now, you could take AFT. Again, as I said, I didn't take that. You could take the range, get a little bit more. I kind of like what I'm running here, and I kind of recommend it. But if you want to get some extra range, you definitely can. I'm just not. And also, you can drop the reload down with BFT as well as the module. Could get down to around that 1.6-ish reload time if you want, not including Adrenaline Rush. Torpedoes. Now, this is what I kind of stack this ship around, and it's 2 sets of 5, and that is going to be on a 76-second reload. Again, with both the Captain Skill 10% off and the module. So pretty quick on those reloads, and 15 kilometers at 86 knots. Now these torps can get even faster, obviously taking torp acceleration if you want, adding 5 knots there. And as we went over in one of the videos, going over the captain builds, or I did it on stream, I went over the captain module changes, not the captain skills, the module changes. There's going to be an addition of the torpedo, which will, I believe, take over the aiming system. I think there's going to be a torpedo addition there. One of them, I think they're adding a torpedo one. That will add 5% more. So these can get extremely quick. over around 95 knots or something like that. So very, very fast. I think 86 is fine, 1.8 kilometer detection range, but still you could get even just straight up, 91 knots at 12 kilometers if you want to take that. I thought 86 at 15 with 1.8 is plenty. I'm hitting a little bit more in that range. They're just so freaking fast. Now the AA is a star on this ship, and you guys will see what I mean about this, and that's one thing I love about this ship. But I want you to keep in mind the AA I do in this game, and I'm not really taking anything else captain wise for AA values, so this could be even better, which is one of my favorite parts about this ship. Maneuverability, it's pretty solid. It's a little sluggish at 35, but you do have that speed boost. Again, you could take flags. Fairly maneuverable, and then 6 kilometer detection. So fairly competitive, but again, you don't have that smoke to kind of save you. Let's dive into some gameplay with this ship, and I'll show you how it is just super effective, and I'll show you what I mean by being something really, really exciting and something that I haven't seen in a while that I really, really enjoy. So here we are in game with the Holland, and first of all, let's just go over every DD's nightmare, and it is tier 10 CVs. Obviously a tier 10 ship, CVs are going to be a thing, and when you normally play a destroyer, you tend to just shiver a little bit and go, well, this is going to be fun. Not only is it a tier 10 game with CVs, it's a tier 10 game with CVs and only 2 destroyers. So what are you going to do? On top of that, it's a tier 10 game with CVs with only 2 destroyers, and I'm in a test ship. Wow. Always focus the test ship. Now, also, you would normally think that, and one thing about this ship is that you kind of want CVs. Hell, I even kind of want 2 tier 8s. And one thing, I don't know if you guys saw it right there, something about the ship, as you see, you can't shoot perfectly forward. So a little bit of a bummer there. I learned that the hard way the other day. You can't shoot straight on. As you see, if I do go straight on just a little bit, you'll see the indicator actually go gray. And so a bit of a thing to watch out there, but you're going to see me kind of play this. And this is one thing that a lot of people, obviously they don't know a lot about this ship when they're looking at other stuff, or when they're playing with it, they're asking for smokes, and sadly you don't have smokes, you can't give them. But also you have to be very careful how you approach things. And what I mean by that is that, you aren't super stealthy. Their team, if we look at them very quickly, is a Gearing and a Kagero, so I'm out detected by both of them. And so you have to get... it's a unique playstyle, and I really, really like that. But you have to approach things in a certain way. And what I mean by that is, you see I'm backing in. I'm very, very, very passive. There's a Smolensk here, but I'm still a DD. Although I can't get really that close, because if I had smoke, I could do something, maybe defend myself with this. You basically, what you have is what you have, and that's about it. But you can already see the speed of those torpedoes rolling out there, kind of throwing them out almost just in a way, and I'm waiting for that Des Moines to go away. But one of the things when you're playing ships, especially high tiers, is that when you see a CV, you're dreading that. Because obviously CVs are the counter to this, and you're going to see me be a strong one right here, a strong boy, and actually try to spot a Kagero. Luckily, Kagero didn't have camo on, as is tradition for most Kageros, it seems like, and we're going to pump in some damage. So you can see, even without BFT, even without the reload module on, let's say, the last slot, you can still pump out a little bit of damage here, and then something that out detects me by or about a half of a kilometer. He's at 5.5-ish, I guess, maybe 5.5 and some change. You're still able to sit there, and if done correctly, pump out some damage. So nice little bit, good reload, even though it is only 2x2, but you are a big ship, and you do take a lot of damage if things shoot at you. Luckily, we got lucky. Swans didn't shoot at me. Only the battleship shot at me. He snagged me for a couple hits. But yeah, overall, not too bad. But again, talking about CVs, normally you despise CVs. It's like a terrible thing. And this, you kind of want CVs to be in the game. You won't see it till a little bit later, but you really kind of want CVs to be in the game, because and I haven't really felt like this in a long time. I would say since pre-rework, in a way, where you could actually make DDs that were kind of no-fly zones. You don't really see that anymore. Even some cruisers don't even feel like no-fly zones. So this ship, however, the AA is so strong and just really good, that you want planes, and even tier 10 planes. This is a game that you'll see a little bit later that we are just pumping in damage. Now this is a little bit scary here. There's Smolensk there, obviously the fun police in the Smolensk, where we're trying to figure out where this Kagero is, and we're going to take a little bit of damage. Now you know, even though you don't have you're not super low detection, you can take the beating here. As you see, I'm throttle jockeying a little bit, trying to keep this guy spotted. Now if I was in, let's say, like a Daring or a Jutland or even a Gearing, I could be a little bit better on this, but we're able to kind of pump in some damage and just tank a little bit more because we do have those heals. It is kind of nice, and we can even take out a DD that is a lot stealthier than us. Now this is one of the downsides of the ships. There are situations where you don't seem to have the impact as other DDs, but you make up for it elsewhere. But yeah, going DD versus DD, you can still have a good impact, but you're not going to have as much. It's just not being stealthy, not having smoke, it limits you with how many things you're able to kind of work on and be effective in. But here we go. This is just a little bit of a start, and this is just me using the area, just the sector select, and this is what this AA can do just on a couple ships here, as we just chunk out. And remember, these are tier 10 planes. You would go through a battleship or something like that and not shoot down a couple. We shot down two of them before they even launched, then one after the fact. This one, and you'll see us go against full squadrons later, yeah, you usually, when you're at 6,800 life and you are going against a CV, you're like, oh, I'm dead, it's just a matter of time. Not so much with the Holland, and again, it's not till a little bit later in the game, but I'm excited to show you guys the AA on this. So this ship is going to excel in a couple things. Aerial denial is fantastic. Also, being an anti-AA ship. This thing has more of an impact than I've seen on a lot of cruisers. More of a impact than I've seen on basically all the battleships, it seems like. And again, I'm not even focused, or I'm not even set up for being anti-AA. I'm just a ship that is basically taking a couple modules that help out my AA, and really the one on the consumable really doesn't do too much. But this one though, is just the extra plumes, which help a lot. Just those two extra plumes. A lot of the AA damage is from the flak burst, so that little module to add two more is really nice. Down goes our Hipper, who's sailing broadside to a Yamato. But yeah, the torps though are really fun. I'm having a lot of fun in this ship, and the torps are just super fast in the reload, and of course they travel extremely quick. But you'll see the alpha damage fairly low. 9,000. Did we hit him with two? Yeah, 9,000, 9,000. A lot of salvos where it's just a couple. And as you see right here, the game I thought was pretty much over. We're down 3 ships. We lost a lot of our battleships. And our hack is trying to work as hard as he can. But yeah, I thought this game was pretty much over. But you're going to see that. Also, normally, as you get later and later into the game, what happens is CVs get stronger as a DD that has a fairly low amount of life. Currently right now, just because you're taking so much, you're like, oh man, is this going to be a bit of a bummer here? I'm just going to get wrecked, yada, yada, yada. Again, not so much with the Holland. You are a threat. There was a game that I played with the Holland on Hotspot, and I ended up kind of pushing up a side and a midway. Now, obviously, if a midway is, maybe not that good, they're obviously going to have a bit of a problem, but regardless of the DD. But he kept sending planes, and literally didn't do any damage to me, and ended up giving up because I just was shooting down too many of his planes. I might end up doing like another video on this to kind of show a non-CV game as well, just being so impactful, because you're really going to shine in CV games, but overall you're still pretty strong. Also, being able to deal with the Smolensk with a nice reload, I mean, who doesn't love seeing this, right? I mean, that's just a good time right here, is getting 4 citadels on a broadside Smolensk. I mean, that everyone celebrates that, right? So the guns are good, but that is what I'm talking about right there, is that with maybe like a gunboat build. I don't quite feel comfortable with a gunboat build currently. I think you kind of need to kind of reserve as much health as possible. If you're constantly going because you're a large ship, you don't really have the speed and the maneuverability as, let's say, like a French DD would. So I'm not quite team full gunboat with this ship. Again, as you see, the speed of the torps is really, really high, but the alpha damage fairly low. I mean, obviously we're hitting for 8,000, we're hitting for 9,000. If those were IGN torps, you know, one's going to hit for almost 3 times as much, or maybe not 3 times as much, but at least twice as much. You know, 18, 19, 20k on one torp. So one of the things you're going to be doing a lot though is flood chance and getting floods on ships. And as you see, we're at 5 floods for 7 torps. So that's fairly solid, but already over 126,000. And again, the best part is on its way, and we're bringing this game back. So I actually felt pretty good about this game. I thought this was a fun one to show because it kind of shows being still an anti-destroyer, still being, you know, an assisting DD, using your guns, using everything, but you have to be very you have to pick and choose your fights in a way, and so that is one thing that will maybe be harder for some newer players. This is, I think, going to be a fairly difficult line. Maybe not as difficult as the French DDs, but this is still going to be fairly difficult for the majority of players. But if you are maybe have some experience in destroyers in general, if you like the Friesland, if you like shooting down planes, especially as the tier 10, not in the earlier tiers, this is gonna be a ship that you really, really, really enjoy. I'm loving this ship. There's a couple things I love to do when I'm playing destroyers, and that's being an anti-DD and shooting down planes. I love it. This kind of reminds me, it's almost like I kind of made the joke during the stream, and again, we play all these live on twitch.tv. And those dang Des Moines secondaries actually hit me once, and it resets the cap. But this reminds me of pre-rework AA. It's kind of like the DD's revenge against planes, and I know I've kind of built it up through this entire video about that, but you're gonna see. And just keep in mind, we're going against a Midway, a tier 10 aircraft carrier, known for having fast planes, known for having strong planes, and we are a tier 10 destroyer. So normally this is a sad day. We're trying to avoid planes. No. You see, we have 3 plane kills so far. We're going to stack up a couple more, and we're going to stare the boss man right in the face and take them down. So as you see, the Midway is way over there. The team did an awesome job on the other side, so a really, really good overall team. I think we were down by 4 ships, and we're now up by 4 ships. So an 8-ship swing, I will gladly take that. This game was a lot of fun, and yeah, I may do another video on another game where it was no CV. As you see right here, those I don't know if you guys saw it there. If I do aim straight forward again, you'll see it. You seriously can't shoot forward because of the other mount that's there. So a little bit of a bummer. Don't mess up if you do play this ship and make the same mistake as I did. However, though, we're kind of sitting pretty. The Le Fantastique doesn't quite have the ability like I do, but we're just kind of relaxing and heading that way. So the upsides of this ship is, you'll see them in just a second, but the downsides are definitely ones you have to kind of get used to, and that is not having smoke. For the majority of destroyers, having smoke is such a safety blanket. It's a way to disengage. It's a way to go undetected. And the thing is, with French destroyers, they're really kind of the other line that doesn't have them. Yeah, I know Russian DDs don't have them as well, but as for just destroyers in general, like entire lines, the French one is the only one that doesn't have it. But what does the French destroyer have? Well, they have speed and maneuverability and all that kind of stuff. So that is something that this ship doesn't really have. They're kind of fairly large ships. They don't really have the speed. The lower one, the tier 6, as we showed off earlier in a video, is I think 38 knots base. This one's 35, so you're fairly sluggish compared to some other destroyers. I would say kind of almost Daring-esque for that, but again, the Daring has those small smokes to disengage. And but you still have some good guns. You still have some decent detectability. It's nothing crazy, and you have, again, those fast torps. You're just an overall, if you like destroyers, you'll like these because they add a unique play style and some unique strengths. Now, things that I can, and as you see right here, so there's the Midway, and And as you saw, again, you can't shoot straight forward there. A little bit of a bummer. But this is something that I think I would never really do. I mean, maybe it's late. Maybe I still would. But you're going to see, again, just keep in mind, 3 plane kills so far this game. I think we got 2 before they dropped and 1 after they dropped. And with those 3 kills, we don't have BFT, we don't have AFT, we don't have manual AA, we don't have anything really built in. We just have the one module that gives us a couple extra bonuses, a couple extra flax, which is actually going to get buffed, as we saw with the module changes. And we do have the AA consumable, but I've noticed that the AA consumable doesn't really work too much. It's not really needed when it comes to this. So because you just end up you know, it's kind of like an awkward length. But you're going to see us start to hit some planes here in a little bit. And worse, in here, like normally, I would never open up on planes. And that's not going to seem like a lot right there because it was in my long range. But we are going right into this guy. Now, tier 10 CVs, if you've ever played against them, and you know, I remember somebody said that, like, oh, you know, the CV you played against maybe wasn't that good, yada yada. This was something that I did on almost every CV I played against, and you're gonna see, again, 3 planes so far. We're pushing straight towards a midway. Let's have some fun. And yeah, let's have some fun. 1 down already, 3 down, and we're gonna stack up some planes. And again, they gotta drop those in. So basically an entire squad. It did have a fighter on it, but an entire squad gone, did no damage. You're gonna see a pattern on this. So up to 9 planes, no big deal. And again, I didn't use my AA consumable because those were torps, so I wanted to save that. I don't know if I saved it for these bombers or for the rocket planes, but and I don't know if our CV drops another one here too. And again, I think we're saving the AA, but still pumping out AA. It is such a revenge, such a beautiful thing to see. 19, 20 planes. I love it. I love it. Fighters gone, squads gone, everything's gone. I love it. I freaking love it. Again, an entire squad. This one doesn't have a fighter, and I don't know, am I still holding on to it? And I don't think he even gets any damage on me. I think maybe one drop or something like that. I was saving for rockets. That's mainly the thing I was saving for. But again, misses it. We just turned a little bit. So just in that little bit, and there's the rockets there. So I could have even shot down more. This ship right now is literally the destroyer's revenge against planes. And I love it. I freaking love it. 33 planes, 30 of those within, what, less than a minute at the end of the game. And this is something that I've done basically against every CV I've played against. And it's something that I love to do, especially as a DD. It's kind of crazy, though, because it feels like this DD has a higher or more AA than basically like all the cruisers in the game, and like all the battleships. So it is work in progress, so I doubt they're going to let this go live. There's no way. Basically, it kind of showed, from what I've played at least, that tier 8 CVs have no chance against this thing currently. And again, I could have buffed this up more with tier 8 or with the module or with captain builds and whatnot. I could have even added more, even just BFT 10% more. And really, if you're playing against a kind of not that good of a tier 10 CV, they stand no chance. I played one game where I was within firing distance of a midway, and they stopped dropping planes on me. They just gave up and went for other stuff. So the AA, crazy, but I love it. I hope they don't change it. I made a joke on stream that we should all kind of pretend that the AA is weak or it's just mediocre, and they won't change it. But man, for what it is right now, it feels good to be able to actually touch planes as a destroyer, because you know we've all played where it's just chunk after chunk after chunk when playing a destroyer, then there's not much you can really do. It's nice to kind of be able to punch back a little bit and really you can actually see yourself maybe start playing some CVs, and especially against a tier 10 CV, that's something that you don't really get anywhere else, especially in the destroyer class. So the tier 10 Holland, I may end up doing a second game on this as well. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see another game with the Holland. It was with no CV, so purely against surface ships. But I wanted to kind of show this because the end of it is pretty nuts. Just showing the strength of the AA, 30 planes in a little bit of time. So pretty freaking good. So anyways, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, the ship is work in progress. These stats are subject to change, and I assume we might see some changes before these ships eventually go live. But that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.